you keep chasing. That's why I say you gotta be careful because you could keep chasing the next gecko. Just try to do something that's
That's different.
new for you. Yeah, that's different.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Gecko Cove Connection. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Nelson from NCG Reptiles. Welcome.
Hi, Bobby. How you doing?
I'm doing great. We're recording in the middle of the morning, and I kind of love these episodes because I'm actually awake. I've got my coffee here, and the internet usually stays a little bit better. So I'm so happy that we made this work today. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, I have to say thank you. I follow you. I watch you. I like the things that you're doing. You know, this is something good. This is good for the community. I like that you have this Gargoyle Gecko podcast, and I'm honored to be here. And I've seen some of your guests, and I'm surprised about what you've done so far. And you're grinding away. Good job, man. I'm really proud of you. I really
that means a lot because you've been doing this longer than me. I remember watching your videos before I even got on YouTube, and I really appreciate it. So
yeah.
I'm glad that you said yes to coming on the show. But let's learn a little bit about you. So let's start with, when did you start keeping reptiles? And when did you think of starting a business or YouTube channel?
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to be like all those other podcast people. Whoa,
yeah, it's a standard question, but they got to know who you are.
No, I know. You know? It's a standard answer too. Let me see if I can give you a better answer.
All right, there you go.
So actually,
it started yesterday.
My whole life, man. You know what? I've been into reptiles my whole life. I could attribute that to my father. He always had animals in the house. Like we had fishes. I know we were going to talk about fishes, but we can stay off of that.
Eventually, yeah.
We had fishes and reptiles and turtles and snakes and lizards, and I've had them in my bedroom growing up. You know, so I had so. It's so funny. I remember back then there was not a lot. There's a lot more information now than there was back then. And you had like 3 tank sizes. You had a 10-gallon, you had a 20-gallon, and a 55-gallon. Oh my goodness. Yep. I had like
which are the worst size because they're like this thin, you know.
They're so narrow. I had a big old boa constrictor in there. And then I had an iguana when I was maybe like 4th grade that I had living in my closet.
Nice.
I emptied out my closet. And I had just a iguana you get from the local pet store, and so we had cool stuff, man. I had a Jackson chameleon that we bought. It must have been wild caught. It threw babies. Wow. Yeah. So we had just had animals my whole life. So that's how it started. And there was a place called, I have to give credit to this place called Animal Kingdom. I don't know if you were familiar with it. It's like a staple in Chicago. So I'm from the Chicagoland area. And my dad made friends with all those guys at Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom. Where is that, downtown Chicago, or is it like suburbs?
It was like Logan Square area, off of Milwaukee, over there. And it was a staple for a long time. I mean, everybody knew Animal Kingdom. Like, you talk to old school guys. I'm an older guy. I was even thinking like 5-6 years ago, I'm like, I'm gonna reopen Animal Kingdom because they had all kinds of animals. They had obviously all the pets and reptiles and fish, and then they had like a toucan and some monkeys back there, some cages. And so you would go there in Chicago, and I was just fascinated. I used to beg my dad, "Can we go to Animal Kingdom? Let's go there again." And so he made friends with those guys, and we used to go to reptile expos. Back when reptile expos, believe it or not, it was in a farm. I don't remember exactly where. I want to say it was All Animal Expo. It might have been related. Yep. It was a farm. It was like a farmhouse with dirt ground. And you would see these people in there with just tables. There was nothing fancy. There was no, what do you call it? No tablecloths with fancy names. It was just the table with some dudes selling.
You like it, you take it. That's it, you know?
Yeah, and a lot of trading went on. I asked my dad if I could buy a what was that? A Cayman alligator. I must have been like 10 years old. Can I buy this Cayman alligator? He's like, go ahead, whatever you want. brought
Just
home a
feed it some
tame
cat food.
alligator. So my whole life, I could talk forever. So my whole life,
Yeah.
I've been around reptiles, man. My whole entire life. High school, I worked at a place called Grand Aquarium.
Mhm.
I worked there for a few years. I did a lot of pond builds in the area for
Nice.
people. We did a lot of house calls, cleaning aquariums and stuff like that too. Uh, I did a lot of pickup at freight pickup at the airport for the guy. His name was Tom. Really cool guy. So I thought forever I was going to be working with animals, and it just kind of
Yeah.
just rolled into my having kids, and then wanting to think. I was thinking, what's the easiest animal that my kids could enjoy? And
Right.
gargoyle geckos was something I just never owned for a while, and that was the first gecko that I actually got was a gargoyle gecko. So I attribute to what NCG Reptiles came to was because of gargoyles, basically. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So, I love the story that, you're doing this because your dad surrounded you with all these different species and
Mm-hmm.
shared that passion with his son. And now you're, if anybody's watched your videos, and if you haven't, I'll link it down in the description below. He's got some amazing videos. But from day one, your videos incorporate your kids, and it's
Yes.
specifically your
That was,
oldest daughter. And I love that.
mm-hmm.
My son sits and watches them with me. He won't watch a lot of reptile videos, but he'll watch
Yeah.
yours because he
Yeah.
connects with other kids, and I love that part of it.
That's
Um,
that's my goal. That's
yeah,
yeah.
and so you're sharing that with the next generation, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's so cool. Was it Did your kids take to animals right away like you
Oh yeah.
did,
Yes.
or
Yep.
yeah?
We live close to Brookfield Zoo, and we're there
Hmm.
every other week. So I have a
Very cool.
membership there, which is really nice. And so Saturday, you want to go to Brookfield Zoo? Of course, they've never turned it down. We go there.
Yeah.
A lot of people spend
Have
like
you
eight
seen me
hours there.
there?
Possibly it's
No, no, no,
possible.
no, no, no. I'm asking
Maybe.
specifically because if you haven't, you're going to go on a hunt next time you go.
Okay.
I got married there,
Oh no
so
way!
yeah.
That's an
So
awesome place, man.
since 2017, my picture has been up at the entrance
What?
of the Brookfield Zoo. Yes,
I
so it's
gotta
my
look.
wedding photo. Yeah, you go look
I gotta
and
take a
send me a
picture of it.
photo in front of it. Yeah. It's a little faded, and then
Yeah.
they redid it a few years ago. And it's funny. So I've got a season pass as well. We love the Brookfield Zoo,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're in the Chicagoland area, definitely go visit. It's a
Yes.
great zoo. But yeah, right at the entrance, I think it's the Southgate entrance, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. It's the main one. Right before the ticket booths. Not where you actually buy the tickets, but like kind of where the old school ones are by the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right in the middle of the grass, there's a giant sign with my picture on it, with me
Oh,
and my
I gotta
wife.
check it out. I definitely gotta check
So
it out. Yep.
yeah, no, I love that place.
Cool place, man. Just to walk
Great wedding
around.
venue.
Oh my goodness, yes. That's like a dream. I mean, it couldn't be any better, especially for you.
Oh, it was
Being into
and that my
animals and
wife wanted
yeah.
it, because I've always been into animals, and my wife likes fluffy animals, but
Okay.
not so much the scaly animals. And so yeah, when we're like, where do we want to have the reception? She picked that, and I'm like, no arguments here. Half my family's there in
Yeah.
the ape house anyway. So
So you had the venue there with the food and everything. Did it have the area? Because I know there was a spot where like you could walk and see the giraffes while you could walk out while you're eating your food, and they
yep.
have
So
giraffes and like some stuff while you. Yeah, that was
So
there.
there
That's
was
pretty cool.
what was kind of cool, and I don't want to talk about me too much, but
Yeah.
I'll go over this really quickly. If you're looking to get married, it's a cool location. You get to pick where you want your cocktail hour. And so the giraffes were one area. There's a few different areas like the dolphins. We actually picked the bears. So we were in it's one of the indoor areas with air conditioning, which was huge in June because it was a hot
That's awesome.
day. And what the best part is if you've been to a wedding recently, the bride and groom don't get a second to just enjoy themselves, right? It is
Yeah.
it is entertaining, and it is fast paced, and it's so much fun. But we got the best of both worlds because when they brought out when they had the bears released, they actually brought out coconuts and we're letting them play in the water. So all
Yeah.
of our guests like, who are the bride and groom? No, they're taking pictures with the bears, and they're having all the food, and we're like, oh, the food's even available. We're gonna eat something here. It was great.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the giraffes were great. And then we got married in the pavilion, so it was
Mm-hmm.
outdoors, and it's right by the there's a carousel right
Yep.
there. We got to, I think it was the last time they were allowing it for a wedding. We got to actually rent out the carousel just for our wedding.
Oh
So
wow.
we're you know, after a few cocktails, on the different, you know,
Yep.
animals, riding it in our, you know, my wife's in the wedding dress,
Yep.
and you got the music playing, all the good stuff from our DJ. It was a blast.
That's awesome. Words don't do justice, man. If you guys, anybody out there, go visit Brookfield Zoo. It's a cool place. You can see what we're talking about. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
At the end of this podcast, I'll throw up some pictures of my wedding, just if anybody's
Oh,
interested in what
cool.
that looks like.
Yeah.
Very cool. Let's get back to so you take your kids there, right?
Yep.
Do they have any favorite animals that they like to go to, or do they go straight for the reptile house?
You know what they do to they like the peacocks that walk around.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
I'm constantly telling them, leave
Chase
them
them.
alone, leave them alone. But yeah, they
Oh,
like the
that's great.
reptiles. They have like a small little aquarium area where they have like the penguins and the fishes, and
Yep.
okapis is one of my the girl that's in my video all the time, Angelina.
Yeah.
She likes the okapis. Should we go over there?
Oh,
It's
that's
way in the
awesome.
back. They're hard to see. They kind of look like zebras, kind of horse. They're kind of like a morph of a kind of. They're cool.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, they all get their favorites,
yeah.
and everybody's so different of their taste. So it's fun, and as they get older, it changes. But just the imparting the love of animals that young is fantastic. So you said that you started with gargoyle geckos. Was your
Yeah.
first gecko an actual gargoyle gecko, or did you start with crested? Because I know you do with cresteds too.
Gargoyle gecko was my first gecko.
Way
Yeah,
to go!
yeah. It's that
Nice.
black and white one that I've posted a couple of times. A female.
Here, I'll jump on our on your Instagram. I got that
But
pulled
yeah,
up.
it's not even red. It's black and white. So yeah,
Nice.
so
The black
I
and
like
whites
it
are
off.
gorgeous.
Yeah. So
So let
that's
me
the
pull you
one.
up real quick. So you got your Instagram. Let's see if I can find it. I was looking at this earlier. Tell me if you see it.
Yeah. Let me see. Probably should probably be
They're farther down.
maybe.
Is it this one?
Oh, there, right there. I'm holding her
There
right
we
there.
go.
That's her. Right. That's my first gargoyle.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I like the black and white stripes.
Oh,
You
I
know, I see
love
a lot
her.
of black and white reticulated, but
She has this super unique. I could barely ever see her fired up all the way. This her fired down.
that's
She
awesome.
has like these brown markings, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
solid, uh, and it's not reticulated. It's man, I don't think I've always tried to catch her fired up, and it's very unique. If you see my early photos, just where the photo is and not where the reels are, you
Yeah.
might be able to
Let's see.
catch like partial fired up. Let's see.
See, I'm just in the post right now.
Yeah,
Let's see if I can go all the way down. Sort of this.
right, kind of right there. Yeah, you could kind of see it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's hard to explain, but that's her partially fired up, and it's phenomenal. I gotta get her like on a little reel.
Pictures never do them justice.
No, yeah,
Especially if they're not just that smack you in the face color.
yep.
Ooh, those are amazing.
That's from Brookfield Zoo right there.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah,
Nice.
right. That
Oh, the
picture.
Fijis.
Yes. Yep.
Um, yeah, but pictures never do them justice. And I
No.
know, you know, one thing we were chatting before we started the podcast. And let me get out of this real quick.
Yep.
But you know, everybody, including myself, I love the Reds. I think they're fantastic. And you know, in my last few podcasts, a lot of people have asked, what do we do when we find an all red gecko? Right. And
Yeah.
I always joke I sort of have an all red gecko, but it's not what people are
Yeah.
talking about. You know, I think there are so many other colors. We haven't name another color of gargoyle that's super popular.
Popular. I would say whites are getting really popular. I mean, that's why I kind of mentioned it. But there's
Getting
white, yellows, there's oranges. I have peach, uh,
yeah.
brown. But you know what? There's if you ever look at that gargoyle gecko book, I know you mentioned it a few times on your
Yeah, I got it back
podcast.
here.
Yeah, if you go in there, there's actually melanistic geckos they mention in there. Like this is not
Yep.
new stuff. This is stuff from back then. They have hypo geckos, those pastel geckos. I have a male gecko. that produces pastels. And maybe that has something to do with some hypogene. Who knows? We don't know. It's very untouched. Everybody's chasing, that red gecko, which I love. I have red geckos, and I want a really red gecko, but everybody's like, oh no, the gecko game's over after you get your reddest gecko. No, it just started. No one's touching the melanistic. I cannot wait for a black gecko. Could you imagine that? You get some black geckos. I know I talked to Rack about this same thing. He's been working on some melanistic geckos for a while, and he mentioned a couple ideas. He's been trying to get that black gecko. I'm like, oh my goodness, I've been trying to get that black gecko. So if anybody out there has like really black dark geckos, send them my way, man. I want to work with it. I want to make some black geckos. I think that would be really cool.
Well, I just sold a baby that it wasn't fully, just black. It was a blotch, right?
Yeah.
But even when the people who bought it picked it up, they're like, man, this thing is dark. I have never seen a gecko this dark. And they do fire up and fire down, so that, there's variation in it. But you're right. I mean, how sweet would it be to have, we're both wearing black shirts, just a black gecko. And imagine it. Here's the dream. And this will probably never happen. But imagine if it somehow had a what's it called? Kind of a red eye syndrome, right?
Yeah.
So imagine a red-eyed black gargoyle. That thing would look menacing. I don't think it could happen, but who knows?
Well, you know what? The iris color, you can get red iris color gecko with the
that would be cool.
Yeah. That would be really cool.
So... But yeah, so the black and whites are fantastic. I always say I like the yellow and black ones.
Oh, yellow.
The yellow bases.
Yep.
I think we're just scratching the surface there. I think people are so focused in on pattern color versus looking at the base color.
Yeah.
And which makes sense because it's the stuff that stays, right? That's why people who like red, not that they don't like the red crested geckos, but the red crested geckos don't stay red all the time.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I have a red crest that's pretty red, man. I don't know if you've seen it on my podcast. I mean, not my podcast, my Instagram. I got that one from Korea. I mean, that thing rivals my gargoyle gecko red. Like, it is a red. Yeah, fantastic.
That would convince me to get a crested gecko.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so cool. But
that's awesome.
The back to the gargoyles.
Yeah.
I have a pastel gargoyle that I've been holding back some of its babies, and talking about pattern color and base color. You know how they have the outlines between the pattern colors, and it's like it. And so I have a gecko that would be almost have none of those lines, and all the colors kind of blend together. So it's like a single color gecko, like with no pigmentation. Does that make sense? Like
it does. And actually, that is something that I have thought and talked to a lot of people about as far as when we're trying to get geckos that have a ton of coverage of their color. You want to look for the absence of those patterns.
Yeah.
Because that's how their color can spread. Otherwise, they kind of create a defined border. Right? So let me pull up again your Instagram, and I'll show you what I'm talking about on these and see if you're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
We're talking the same language here.
I think if people focus on that, you can have an all one color pattern.
So this is a great example. So this is what I'm talking about with the borders, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with these stripes.
Yep. Yes.
And so if the color, let's just say this was even more colorful here, right? That color could only spread from what I see to this point.
Exactly.
And then, so let's see if we can find the gecko you're talking about on here.
I'm not sure about, I haven't posted everything, but like
but as you can see, a little bit, when it's broken up even with this one, it goes to that border and stops kind of where it broken up. That's where it's peeking through. And so when you're looking for babies, guys, out there, and you're looking for new ones, and you want something with super giant back coloration, if you see those lines, doesn't mean it's a bad gecko. It just means there's potential.
The color will spread. Yeah. So if you see, there was a pair there.
Oh, did I go back down?
Yeah.
Here.
Right there. See the pair? There's the red and kind of like the pinkish. So
Yeah,
that
this one has
yeah,
nothing.
that one produces no lines on the babies, and I'm holding those back because I'm thinking if you can get a really bold pattern color without those borders, you might be
Yeah.
able to get that whatever color that you're working with. You might be able to get it to spread. So I'm kind of like in the beginning stages of working with that.
Yep.
I think that'd be really cool.
I
So
think
yeah,
that's a great plan. That's a great
yeah,
project because I've seen a lot of European breeders that have
mhm,
orange lines.
yeah,
I'm thinking of one or two in particular, and
yep,
they have crazy coverage on their
yep,
animals.
yep,
And it's similar look to this, right? And I
yeah,
bet that's kind of where they started. But if you could get, you know, geckos like Magnus from Goliath Reptiles, who we just had on, I think that's where he has that huge back coverage, or where he can get it all the
exactly.
way
Yep,
across. That is a gorgeous gecko
yep,
by itself, though,
yeah.
even without the red.
Look at the horns on that gecko too. I kind of
Yeah,
think those things are powerful horns. That's so cool. And that
it,
interesting thing about that gecko, that's the one that my only gecko that I can't eat. It won't eat bugs. That
yeah,
gecko is one of my biggest geckos, and he's never. I've had him since he was maybe 25 grams.
yep.
He's about 65 now, probably pushing 70 grams. It's not overweight either, and he won't eat the bugs. he
Nope.
won't. He won't eat. I've fed him every bug in the world, and he won't. He won't do it. And I even
I
put it
don't
in his
think
food.
they're. You know what? I really want to get some large bugs, like massive, like some giant grasshoppers, and see,
Yeah,
because, yeah, my two big girls up here, they're over 65 grams, and they've never touched bugs, and they grew so fast. And I've talked
yeah,
about genetics on here. I won't do that again. But
yeah,
it's everybody who's bred crested geckos or gargoyles are like, if you feed them bugs, it's like supercharging them, which I agree. It'll
mhm,
help. Protein will always help, but there's a genetic component to it. Plus, I
yeah,
also think that
huge.
these guys eat other things.
Yeah,
Um, and I wonder if you threw in, not that I'm recommending it, okay, but I wonder if we threw in some sort of other little lizard or something in there, if they would go nuts for it.
I thought about that. Sometimes you have you breed a lot of geckos. You have little baby gecko eggs. Some of them don't make it
Yeah,
all the way. Maybe I'll open one of the eggs that are like way past due. Maybe and I'll throw it in there and see what happens. So that way
yep,
you can recycle instead of just throwing
the
away the eggs
nutrients.
or whatever. Yeah, just see if he'll eat it. I mean, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, that's
You
what
might
I
you
mean.
might you
I
might
made
do
a
it.
video a little while back where I lost a baby.
Yeah.
Just didn't thrive. Nothing wrong with it. Fully formed. Had to feed it off to one of my geckos, and the Chewy, took it
That's
out.
normal.
Um,
That's part of raising babies. They don't all make it.
no,
90%
no,
of them make it, but there's small.
yeah.
No, they won't
And
make
I
it.
will have some take. I will feed my females who are ready to breed.
Yeah.
Pinky mice. Have you ever done that?
I That's another thing I'm gonna do. I haven't done
Yeah,
it yet. I think sometimes it'll help with their calcium sacs and everything like that. Especially like, if
yeah,
you're doing it right before breeding, that's a great idea. Um, I just haven't done it because I have to go get them.
yeah.
I've been so busy. So that's the thing. There's no pinkies around us right now.
Yeah.
Where I'm at right now.
Well, so fun fact for you. I'm not gonna say which one. It's not one of the huge box stores, but
Yeah.
one of the chains that I know are right by me and you. In their frozen section, they have them ready to go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll look into that.
So you can buy
I
them
just
one
assumed,
offs.
yeah. I just
Yeah,
assumed they didn't
no,
have
I
them.
didn't realize until I just saw it. I'm like, I don't own snakes, so I don't look at that very often.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, I was like, man, I wish you guys had pinkies, and they're like, we do. I'm like,
Oh, cool.
okay, cool.
I have to
But
get it.
yeah, again, nothing you feed on a regular basis, but
No.
I've had my females when they're ready and they need those nutrients.
Mhm.
They get ravenous and they
Yeah.
take those down quick. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
like, where the heck did that go? You know?
Yeah.
Um, Very cool. All right, I want to circle back. You mentioned something a little bit earlier that I think is so cool, and I actually messaged you about it, which is you ordered from Korea.
Yes. Hmm.
So Do you
Fetal.
mind explaining? A lot of people have looked at it. Yeah. So fetal is the most obvious one we could
Yeah.
look at.
Yep.
Um, what was that experience like?
I could say, you know what? There was not. I tried to reach out to some breeders just to see, and I didn't get good reactions. To be honest with you, it was kind of like
Sure.
hands off. You know, nobody wanted to give me any answers. So I kind of had to go in there blind. You know, I saw the website. It was very kind of new. It's way better now than when I went on it, and I messaged the guy, and he seemed very nice. I was like, oh man, this guy's really, really awesome guy. He's really nice. He's very friendly.
Yeah.
And so I asked him, what was the process? How much did it cost? So my guess was like, just to import the gecko would be like $2,000. Like I just wanted to. My wife was like,
I had no idea.
My wife was just like, just text them because I was eyeballing a couple geckos on there. They're like,
Yeah.
he's like, just message them. You never know what you're gonna find. You never know what they're gonna say. I said it's probably like $2,000 just to like import a gecko. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm not gonna spend that kind of money. But I listened to my
I
wife.
love that your wife is encouraging you.
Oh, she
I
does.
love
She's
that your wife.
so encouraging. She's like, you don't know until you try. And she's always the type of person. It's like, you go big or you go home. Like, I'm like,
Oh, I love it.
I'm like, are you okay? You know, this might be a scam. If I send some money over there, I may never see the gecko. I have no idea. I reached out to a bunch of breeders because she's like, why don't you go reach out breeders? It was like crickets.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, nobody wants to give you the kind of information. It's like secret society. They don't want you to have the cool geckos, right? So
yeah. We'll give you the information today, guys. So if you're thinking about
yeah,
it,
ask me anything. I'm an open book. So I reached out. The guy's name David is I reached out to David, and the first time you had to buy a gecko from them, when I bought it, it was you had to do like a money transfer from bank to bank. And so that was kind of nervous because once you send your money like that, it's gone forever. Like you're not getting that back. You get all these warnings on your bank. You're like, you know what you're doing. You sure you got to check like 10 boxes, right? So I'm like checking. I'm telling my wife, I'm like, I'm gonna send the money. She's like, just send it. I'm like, I'm gonna send the money. She's like, just do it. We'll see what happens. You know. And so
all of a sudden you get like a massive virus. All your stuff shuts down. Your bank account's gone.
Exactly.
Damn it. Over a gecko.
Yeah, over a gecko, crazy geckos. I knew this was gonna get me in trouble one day.
Honey, you told me to do it.
Yeah, I take the blame with her, man. We're cool like that. We're definitely one of those power couples. Yes, we're a team. And so yeah, I sent the money over, and it cleared. Everything went by, and then I had to pay the shipping to Little Monsters. They're kind of like the middle person there. So he instructed me after I sent the money so now they have PayPal, which I told them like, cause I still have a lot of conversation with them. Like
sure.
David and I built a really good relationship. Like those guys we're talking a lot, not doing business, just kind of friendly. Like you and I, you know, just, how's your day going? How's everything? How's your family? Like it turned out, and he ended up sending me like a care package with some food from Korea. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, they're really cool people, man. Like, do business with them,
guys. They're gecko nerds like us.
Yeah, and guess where the geckos came from? It came from America. All these people bought these geckos from America. They're just selling them right back. So they're all homegrown here. They just took them and they ran with them. So awesome. I'm not advertising for them or anything. I'm just saying it was a great experience. It just remember.
You mean they didn't brand the gecko made in Korea?
Yeah, from the U.S. It went to Korea, and then it's coming back, guys. We're just trading back and forth, man. You know. So you got to remember too. You know, I ramble all over the place. We all started with like 100 geckos. They're all related. You know what I'm saying? All these cresties are related to each other from 100, from a small batch of geckos. You know, lineage is great. I love lineage. Get those pretty geckos, man. That's how I say it. You like them, buy them. They're pretty. They're awesome. You know.
Well, it's the difference of do you want to hang out with your first cousin or do you want to hang out with your sixth cousin? You know, like one's a little more socially acceptable. So that's okay. That's what I like about the Gargs. Gargs, we got a bigger family tree.
Yes.
We weren't as popular as fast. They've been coming in for longer.
Yeah.
I think they just announced, I know Tiki's just had a video with Philippe.
Yeah.
And I know that's behind his new paywall. So good luck to you, David, on that one.
Yeah.
So eventually I'll jump on that. And but I want to see that whole video. I know in the little teaser clips he gave out that he was saying how many gargoyles originally came in.
Yeah.
And it's way more than I thought, which is really good news.
Did you hear that he still has like 40 of them? I think that's what I caught from that video.
Yeah.
From that clip. Like he still has 40
I love
geckos.
it.
Oh my goodness. That's great, man. Our gene pool for gargoyle geckos is great. You know,
yeah.
It's just it's untouched.
I don't have to marry my cousin.
No.
So one thing, okay, I want to circle back real quick because the most important question I know everybody's probably thinking right now.
Yes.
How much did it cost to ship them, though? Did it cost $2,000?
No, it was $400.
Okay,
but
that's
it was 400, but it was and it was a group, so I don't know. It changes depending on how many geckos you get.
Sure.
The first set of geckos, I think it was like 3 I ordered from them, and it was so Little Monsters charges the fee, so you pay Fido whatever the gecko is. That's a price.
Yep.
And I think they included whatever import fees already in the price of the gecko. Before they kind of separated, I was like, why are you doing that, man? You put one price. It's confusing everybody. So I think now they just put the price of the gecko and everything. Things change. I haven't ordered in a couple years. Yeah, I haven't ordered in a couple years. So I will double check with them. They're changing all the time, you know. But
sure,
I got people messaging me all the time. Hey, you know, I saw your video. You got any information? So this is great that you're asking me about this. So
yeah,
you pay them. They got PayPal now, which is great. So you can go ahead and go crazy with your credit card. Before it was just straight bank. So now, like, I try to stay off the site because, like, I see they have some gargoyle geckos on there that are just fantastic. I don't know if you've been on there lately.
Yes, they are.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, they've got some skeletons on there right now that are just like bright red right down the center, and they're perfect. And they've got a few with eyebrows.
Oh my goodness.
I'm
like, why? I'm never gonna get. I'm like, you keep chasing. That's why I say you gotta be careful because you could keep chasing the next gecko. Just try to do something that's new for you. Yeah, that's different. But yeah, it was $400. So you pay their fee off the website, whatever they're asking. Contact David. David's awesome. He'll walk you through it, the whole process. He'll walk you. You have no questions whatsoever. So you message David on there, and you pay the fee. And then you get onto Little Monsters website, and they have a link, and then you press on a link for, I don't know how they have it now, but it was like an import. If you're importing, you press on a link, and then you pay the $400 import link. And then when the gecko gets to them, then they just ship it to your house or to the hub. I usually get it at the hub, but yeah,
always safer.
It's a really simple process. It's just really scary because you're getting the gecko from far away. You know, it's coming from a ways away.
Well, I mean, how many people? So, okay, we'll get into this in just a minute. But have you produced babies that you've sold already,
so?
Because I'm in my first season of doing that.
I have a problem.
You want to keep them all.
I'm keeping them all every time.
Nice.
Okay, so I have a ton of babies, and I promised my wife this year I'm going to actually start posting some because my gecko room is getting so packed with babies. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people. My point though is that, you know, when you get to that point where you're posting them and selling them.
Yeah.
You know, I'm starting to sell mine right now, and I was that way when I first started. If you've never had a gecko shipped to you from a state over, you know, or you know, let's say it's coming from New York, whatever it may be, people are a little bit sketchy of it, right?
Yeah.
Wait, you can ship a gecko unless you've done this a few times. There's a comfort level.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, when you're talking about shipping from Korea, people who are like, yeah, ship all over the US, that's fine. I've done that 1,000 times. We know the risks of what can go wrong. Now, luckily, the way that we ship animals today, the risk is very, very, very minimal. Right? I just shipped one out yesterday, got there fine, perfect. And I'll ship in colder weather than I did, you know, when I first started this because I'm more comfortable with it. But to ship it from overseas, you're like, well, that's a multi-day thing. You know, there's a lot that could go wrong. I mean, the president could sneeze the wrong way, and then all of a sudden, you know, shipping lanes are down. So I can see why people are hesitant to look at that, but it sounds like it was a pretty straightforward process.
Yeah, they got it down packed. It's like 3 days. It gets from Korea like 3 or 4 days, and it's in little monsters. Pick it up from the airport, and it's in your house like within a week. Like it's fast.
That's awesome.
It's fast. It's been painless. I did it 2 times already. So I ordered.
Wait till they do 2-day shipping.
Yeah.
2-day shipping from Korea. Come on, Amazon, put it on.
They got nothing on Amazon.
Goes and works with Amazon.
Amazon needs to take a few notes. Yep.
One day we're gonna look back at this episode one day and laugh at me saying 2-day shipping from Korea.
Yeah.
Right. It'll be like these drones that drop off little boxes at our door, like insulated, so no weather. Yeah. That's awesome. So you would do it again, is what I'm assuming.
Oh, I've done it twice. I'll do it again too.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's some tempting ones out there for sure. That's awesome. So what are currently, how many geckos do you said you kept a lot of the babies. Yeah. How many geckos do you currently have? Let's talk about your
total collection. Over 100 geckos. Well, just nicely babies done. And so, but I don't just have gargoyles. I have gargoyles. I have cresteds. I have spear point geckos, and I have a trio of like Cape geckos. So I have more than just gargs and cresties. So yeah, and our compass is over 100. 100 something.
Over 100.
Yeah.
You're growing when you like screw counting this.
Yeah.
I have a lot. How many do I have? I have a lot.
Yeah.
How many rooms do I have? So do you have a basement that you keep them in? Like what does that look like?
It started off in my living room. And then it
was only one tank.
And then it spread. And so I took a spot in the basement where I drywalled it out, and then I put some foam on the wall. And so it's a small room, but I utilize it very well. And yeah,
nice.
They're in the basement. I have a heater in there to keep the temperature with the thermostat. Like just a separate heater that you put on the ground. The problem is the only thing with that, it kind of dries the room up a little bit. So I find myself really misting. Yeah. Yeah.
There we go. That's what I got.
Yep. And it works great.
Beautifully.
Yeah. And the temperatures are pretty solid. Yeah. And I did have a window in the basement room where the geckos are, and I felt a draft in there. So I covered it up because I didn't want.
Nice, dude. There are babies. We take care of them.
I wanted to keep the temperature nice in there for them.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, dude, seriously, I remember when I first started, I was like, you know what? I just have this extra tank.
Yeah.
I was bored. What year did you start all this?
Well, I think that female I got was like around 2020. Early 2020, 2019, early. You know what it was? When I was on my quest to buy a gecko, a gargoyle gecko, everything was closed. There was no Tinley, and Tinley, I love Tinley. We've been going there forever. Oh. And so Tinley was closed down. Everything's closed down. And so finding a gecko at that time, and I didn't really look at Morph Market too much at the time. It was really just kind of, I'm looking for a pet,
Yep.
And so when I got that girl, it was probably like around 2020, around there, like,
COVID. So we're around the same time.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, but the problem is, so you pick up one.
Yep.
And they're worse than an STD. If you scratch it, scratch that itch, it just grows, and you're trying to contain it,
Yeah.
There's no ointment to get rid of it.
How does it happen? They must have some kind of parasite that makes you want to more or something, man. It's like
it's the big cute eyes, They're just even people who don't like them. I think it's that handleability. So many things like when you have fish, when you have other reptiles that they don't love to be handled. And I'm not saying that geckos love to be handled.
No,
but man, are they good at tolerating?
Yes,
it,
that's all you need is just to tolerate them. You don't need to love you. That's what kids are for, families for. You just
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing with kids too is just seeing your kid's face when they hold one of those geckos.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that worth it?
Yeah. So, quick story. I know Ariel. He's awesome. We always got to mention him.
Yep, he's a man.
He has a leech.
Finally made a Morph Market.
Yeah, I know. You see that? I'm like, give me all of them. Is there a payment plan?
Yep.
So I've been going. He does the local shows for a long time. So I've met Ariel like years and years ago.
Thousands, yeah.
Yeah, and he has this lychee, right? And my son was able to hold the lychee. Oh my goodness! Like he thought it was a little dinosaur, right? Speaking of dinosaurs, he loves dinosaurs. He's like,
love it.
I want a little dinosaur. I want, So it's like, it was because Ariel has a part of my son loving gargoyles. I mean, not gargoyles, Lichianis geckos, because he had.
I have the exact same story.
Yeah.
I picked up. I'll pull it out in just a minute. I just picked up a killer male gargoyle blotch from him.
Nice,
like absolutely killer. You don't want to know how much I spent on this thing.
You tell yourself
it was up there.
Right?
Talk about a payment plan. I saved up for a while for this one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ariel. I'll take a discount the next time around.
You gotta have him on your podcast, man.
Oh, dude, I've been trying since day one. We'll pressure him enough.
He's so smart. He's a smart guy, man.
He would be a fantastic guest, and he will be a fantastic guest when he comes on. And I say he will because I guarantee eventually I'm going to twist his arm.
Yeah.
But he's a busy guy. I mean, he's at a show, like you said, every other weekend he's somewhere. I know he has another job. So between that and family, I don't blame him,
Yeah.
But yeah, but what I love about your story is I had the exact same story, and it happened to me 2 weeks ago with my son, George.
Amazing.
So George is 4 years old, and we go to pick up this gecko, and we had a little thing where we had to wait for a little bit, which was fine. And he brings out the lychee, the exact same one you're talking about, because that thing's been around for, I don't know, 5 years, more than that. And he puts it in my son's hand, and my son goes, "Daddy, is this what you have?" And I go, "No, we have gargoyle geckos."
Yeah.
He goes, "I want a lychee."
Yeah.
And I go, "Awesome." And then I show him, I'm like, "Well, maybe we can get you a baby lychee. Here's the baby." No, Daddy, I want the big lychee.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, you're going to have to save up a little more than $7 to buy that big lychee."
Yeah.
Get him a yate.
Yes.
So, do you have any lychees?
I'd love to. I just don't have the room because geckos are like potato chips, man. You can't just have one. I'm trying to keep the collection in the room that I made for them.
See, we're trying to contain.
I'm gonna be back up in the living room with tanks and cages and stuff. So I'm trying to keep it contained. I have because man, I could fill the whole house with geckos. I love it.
And when they're the same, kind of family, it's like, oh, it's just a little extra Pangea, it's just a little extra this. And so what's my biggest thing with lychees, and it's not even the cage aggressiveness potentially that keeps me from grabbing a lychee right now.
Yeah.
It's have you heard their nickname, the leaky lychees?
Leaky lychees, yeah, man. They're dirty.
Yeah. Dude.
You want to I don't have time for that.
No. So
you only have one.
I wipe enough butts in this house.
Exactly.
I don't need to be razor blading it off the side of glass.
Spending your midnights cleaning a lychee poop. No, man, I'm not ready for that. If I ever transition to a full-time gecko breeder, if that was my cards in the future, I would definitely dabble in the lychee game. But no,
absolutely,
no, I'm not there.
No, that's what I love about the gargoyles. They're way cleaner. They don't smear.
No. They're super clean, man. They're cleaner than my gargoyles. I mean, my Cresties. I made a video on that. I'm like, the Cresties are dirty. Not as dirty as lychees, but man, because they climb up, right? They climb on the glass and they just poop everywhere, man. I'm like, why? I just cleaned this tank. I'm like, it looks like it's been dirty for a month. I'm like, I just literally cleaned you last night and there's poop all over. I'm like, let me look at my gargoyles so that because
right,
they don't hang upside down pooping, man. They don't do that. They're cool, man.
It's so much easier. Yeah, and then with your bioactive, the bugs take care of it. It's like, I know you have kids, so you've seen Finding Nemo recently.
Yes.
It's like they're purposely trying to get the tank, dirty so that they get like, I'm going to escape. I'm going to get back to the wild.
That's the life of a Cresty right there, man.
Yep.
I was actually thinking about downsizing my crested geckos because they poop all over, man. I'm like, man, these guys are so messy. So
yeah, it's extra work. It's way extra work.
Yeah, especially when you have a bunch of kids.
And now you make that a 15-inch animal, like
yeah.
big gecko, big poop. Yep, good time. All right, now everybody's logged off of the podcast.
I know they're like, oh no, but I love it.
Oh, dude. No, that's great. Where were we before the poop?
Oh my goodness, why?
Good times. But yeah, back to so Ariel. We both had that same experience.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you what I got from him real quick.
Yeah,
if you don't
please.
mind.
Let me see.
So, all right. And I love it. It's a blotch fired down right now. He's about 30 grams.
Beautiful. Wow. Yeah.
Look at that.
That's amazing.
He's completely fired down, and so you can just see the amount of coverage
on
his legs, on the side, on the cheeks.
Love it. Wow, look at that gecko.
That's beautiful. And then I love the yellow eye rim there too.
Yeah.
A little bit contrasting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is my new male, and definitely a male.
Yeah. Look at that.
For everybody.
Yeah.
But
yeah, what a beautiful
this
gecko.
Is Tonga.
Huh?
Thank you.
So
put him back real quick.
So I know you got like these really beautiful geckos, man. Your gargs are just fantastic. Do you have I know you like blotches. I know you're supposed to be asking me questions, but where are you going?
Go ahead.
Where are you going with the gargoyle gecko? What are your plans? I mean, what are you looking to do? Yeah, what's your goal?
All right, I'll make you a deal. I'll answer this question if you answer the same question.
Oh,
deal?
Sounds good. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So my goal, like in the next 2 to 3 years, ideally, is I want to have about 2 more of these enclosures. All right. And I want to put them over here, and then I'll move that and make it a Uri tank. Nice. I want to get back into Uris with those. What I'd like to do is keep it small, 8 to 10 pairs. I want to pair up my males and females. I don't want to do 1 male to 3, 2, 3 females. That's totally fine if everybody else does it that way. I just am lazy and I don't want to rotate them around and miss a cycle.
Yeah.
Plus the genetic diversity, I think that'll be kind of fun as a foundation. What I'd like to do genetically with them, is produce. I'm going. Nothing outside the norm. I want the highest coverage animals possible. So I want to mix. I've got some red base stuff going on, but I want to spread the red pattern all over the gecko with the red base. The red base on both mom and dad are top notch. I just want to keep that. With my blotches up here, I have the blotches up top. I just want to just buy the best, produce consistently the highest quality blotches that I can.
Yeah.
And so I want to stay very kind of small and boutique kind of esque. I don't know if that's the right word.
Oh, that's a perfect word. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to mass produce these animals. I think there's enough people working with them.
Yeah.
And that's an ethical question. Maybe I'll shoot to you is, there are a lot of new breeders, which I think are it's great to have new blood, and I'm a new breeder. But when you have, especially like, let's say crested geckos, so many people breeding ball pythons, crested geckos, leopard geckos, ethically taking 2 geckos that have really nothing special about them and breeding them just for the experience, is that ethical, or should you leave that to the higher end stuff, even if you're doing it in small quantities?
I think if you're a new breeder and you don't know if this is something that you really want to do, but you're really curious, and you take it as a learning experience, and you just take 2 random geckos just to kind of see what it's like to hatch some eggs and to raise them up, and then you go from there and you're like, yeah, this is something I really want to look into, this is something I want to do, then I wouldn't continue to pair those type of geckos. have a goal, like have something that you want to work for, because then it makes it more interesting. You don't just want to. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with what people do, but as long as it's a like a learning experience, and you're not just
Yep.
like, I'm gonna push out some geckos, just because I think it's cool. Just have a direction. I think having a direction will keep things interesting, and I, I it all depends on the context of why they're doing it, right? So that's
I
basically what
agree.
it comes down to. If it's a learning experience and you just want to see if this is something that you want to do, I don't see a problem with it. But if
I
you're
agree.
just mass producing a whole bunch of geckos just to mass produce, then there's kind of something a little ethical about that you may want to really check yourself and make sure that why you're doing it to that extent where you're just kind of pushing out geckos. Why are you doing that? Because you could do that with
and
anything.
I saw that
Yeah.
with the with 2020, right, and
Mm-hmm.
everything that happened there.
Yeah.
I know that there were certain people that I saw with gargoyles and with crested geckos that were just buying them and producing just quantities, and I
Yeah.
didn't want to be that guy
No.
because I remember messaging a few people and they're like, "Oh, I got gargs, cool." Every last one, I'm like, there's nothing even close to special about any of these. These are just
Yeah.
like, and I go, and you have so many, and I know they're just sitting there because I'll message you 6 months later and it's the same geckos,
Yep.
right? And I want to be able to, I'm not going to produce all fire, even if my holdbacks and everything else are top tier,
Mm-hmm.
B plus at the bottom. I know the babies are going to come out in a spectrum,
Yep.
right? But I'm hoping that at least 30, maybe 40% are that higher tier. Just because, like you said, there's a purpose. And each one of my pairings, I have set goals, right? I don't just pair them just to pair them.
Mm-hmm.
I want to produce certain things out of them. I do probably want to have one where I mix blotch and stripe just to see what the difference or
I
what I can
think
do
that's
there.
important too. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
mixing to see what you get. I think that's an important thing, kind of
Yeah.
testing the waters, that experimenting like that to see what kind of, you know, something new that might pop up. You're not going to get something new if you do stripe to stripe all the time.
Right.
You're going to get a stripe. Maybe you get lucky, you get some blotches, But what I'm saying is, look outside the box. Yeah, do those special pairings and see what you can work with. That's what I want to do. I want to.
I'll show you one more gecko that I was about to sell, but because of that exact rationale, I'm
Mm-hmm.
keeping them.
Yeah,
All right, you want to see them real
think
quick?
that's important. Absolutely.
All right. So I renamed them Bear. So I don't know if you know this. I name all of my geckos after islands around the world. I felt like there's enough islands where I'm never going to run out of names.
Yeah.
And they're somewhat unique. So this is one that is not named after a tropical island. It's Bear Island in Ireland.
Yeah.
And so this is from Cosmic Exotics.
Oh, she makes the awesome geckos, man.
Isn't it?
I seen her.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm fascinated by this gecko. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, but he, after I got the blotch from Ariel, I'm like, I have 2 blotch females. I don't want to buy another really expensive female,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't just want to pair them to any female. I've got another really nice female from Chris French with Buckeye Racks, but we'll see how that develops too. But what I kind of noticed after posting them and what people said they liked about this one is look at how vibrant the orange is. That's not red.
Yep.
This is bright orange. And at his age, there we go. Got him. At this gecko's age, it's probably going to stay orange.
Yep.
And I really like that. So what I'm going to pair him with is a girl from, I'll pull her out real quick. Girls get the tubs. Is Tiga here. Tiga is from, here, move this real fast. There you go, girl. They're so chill. I love geckos like this. I say that and she'll probably poop on me. So this is also bright orange.
Yeah, look at that. Love the color.
Yep. Right? Mm-hmm. And like you said, remember that conversation we had about where are the borders?
Yeah.
This one doesn't have it.
That's perfect. That's
And so I'm hoping that his coverage of blotches and the stripes on this one will just explode.
Yeah.
Like if I get a stripe out of it, it's going to be one that has like super thick.
That's going to be an amazing
laterals.
pairing. Yeah. Wow.
And if you saw the genetics that went into this gecko, because Brian from Koala Gecko, shout out to him. I mean, his stuff is just fire. He doesn't need any promotion.
No.
Not at all. But the mother that I got him from, I'll post a picture right in the corner up here of the mom. She is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, and she's bright orange. So going off of different colors, they're my orange pair. So
beautiful. Yep.
Yeah.
I love it.
It'll be kind of fun.
I love it.
All right. Enough about me. People didn't come here to hear about me, even though I like talking about me too. Let's talk about what's your goals. What are your plans with your geckos? And if you want me to show pictures on Instagram, I can. If you want to grab geckos, you can do that too.
Yeah. So I have this female that has a red and orange, very distinctive down its dorsal. Very, very distinctive.
Okay.
I'm not. There's probably a picture on there, just like a recent on my.
I'll pull it up.
Yeah. And the only thing she's kind of lacking is the laterals. And so I have this male that I want to get.
Yeah, you tell me if you see her.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't see her.
Sorry, scrolling.
No,
up.
that's okay. I recently. It's more recent. I just recently posted.
Yeah, I'll go up to the top.
Yeah. So
is that her?
Yeah. You see her right there. She's like on the
background.
On the background. So the pictures obviously don't do any justice. So she's a few years old now, and she has that red and orange really pronounced. Like you could see like a distinct red.
They're very distinct.
Yeah. But you can see that her laterals are really kind of lacking there, right? Mm-hmm. And so I have a male that has some really nice laterals. So I've been pairing her up with the male that has some laterals. So I like to get that red, orange, red pattern going. I don't see that too much on the gecko. So I'm hoping that this year I have babies. I'm hoping that that's gonna right there. See his laterals? I'm hoping that I can.
eye.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can put those laterals on her dorsal. So yeah, he'll pop up and you can kind of see a little bit better.
That's awesome.
Yeah, right there. So I want to get that color on the side with the orange and red pattern on top. So I'm working on that right now. And then the other one we mentioned earlier, I'm trying to get more geckos that don't have any distinct lines, so that color can spread. Yeah. And I have a few babies that are ready to produce that don't have any lines whatsoever, which I think will be the next step into producing something really cool.
Was it was that the pair up here that, where was it? It was down here, I think. Where you had them together in the same picture, was that the actual pair you did?
No, so
where's the male that you used?
The male is the one in that double picture, that one. Yeah, so the male I use that.
Okay, yeah.
And the female I use, she's all red. She's red base with red, very red. She's red on red.
Okay.
That's not her. That's a different gecko.
Is that this one?
Yeah, that's the one right there. Yep.
Don't you hate how brown every red gecko looks in photos?
Yeah, it's hard to.
I hate it.
But she's got a few years on her now, and she's still holding the color. It's not really. If you see her in person, you don't see a brown gecko. It's
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, the photographs, like whatever, I know, what was it? Samsung came out with like color accurate skin tones, right, in their photos. And I'm like, not that this would be popular enough for one of the companies to come out with, but like gecko accurate skin tones is like a new feature on the iPhone. Wouldn't that be a great selling point? Oh man, this gecko. That is gorgeous. Is that yours?
Yeah. That's he's the one that produced that baby that in the recent post that I have.
The recent post.
Yeah. So I do a lot of pictures when my geckos fired down. But that's him fired up. That's what they look like. That's what he looks like fired up. So yeah,
gorgeous.
If you go all the way up, so he's the baby's the first one. That's one of the babies he produced. That one fires up all the way red too, and he's in the next reel too, but he's fired down. You can
see even on this baby. Look at this. Okay, you're talking about the breakup there. Yep. This one doesn't have those lines either.
Yeah. So
That
that
is
red's gonna
awesome.
spread. Yeah, for sure.
I think you got something, with this theory of yours.
Yeah.
It really is making me think.
Yeah, and that's the one to the right of that. That's the same gecko that
This
fired
one
all the way
here?
down. If you go up again.
Up.
Yeah, so it,
And the
so that
same gecko?
yeah, that's him fired all the way down. So that same red
Yeah.
gecko uh that's the same exact. He fires up, he's almost all red. But a lot of the pictures that I post, they're fired down because I just like them both fired up and down, and they're usually fired
Oh,
down.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I like the contrast when they're fired down.
Yeah.
And so, like, some of mine are purple when they're fired down. Some are white.
Yep.
Some are this, kind of like a pinkish, orangish kind of thing. But it's so cool. I think
Yeah.
you get 2 geckos for the price of 1.
Yeah.
Based on how they're feeling. And do you ever find that, like, some geckos just, for some reason, they'll go through like a month or 2 of just like, I'm going to stay fired down the entire time.
Yep.
It's like, dude, I just need to take a photo. Please fire up.
I got
Please.
geckos.
And
I
then
try all the
it'll be the
tricks.
exact opposite.
I try all the
Yeah.
tricks. I put them in a dark room. I spray them down. And it's hard to fire them up sometimes. They don't want to. But when they do, it's like, whoa. It's like usually in the middle of the night, I'm just checking up on the geckos. I'm like, oh, no, I'm so tired. Why are you fired up right now? Let me go get my camera. So that's usually.
Seriously.
Yeah, they fire up when you're not around. They're like throwing a party there.
I could make a bad joke about my wife comparing the two. I won't do that. Love you, sweetie. So, no, this caught my eye too. You told me you had a red crested gecko.
Yeah, that's the one. That was one of my career buys. That's what made me want to buy
nice.
crested gecko. I saw this red. That is red.
Wow, look at that bright red.
Is,
and I love the what are these called? Portholes? I'm not a crested gecko aficionado.
Yeah, you know what? They're small. He claims it's a lily white. It's like a low expression lily white. So I'm thinking those are supposed to be the lily white patterning going on the side. It's kind of weird, but I'm not sure there's full on portholes. They're not getting any. They're not spreading or getting any bigger. But yeah, that red,
I actually kind of think it's having it be lily white, a low expression, because I always see and I love the high expression lily white reds, right?
Yeah.
But you usually just see a little strip of the bright red on those,
yeah,
and the rest is white. This is cool because the lily white, from what I know, cleans up the red to be this bright.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to enjoy more of it because it's a low expression.
It's so cool. Yeah. I have a lot of people that are like excited about this one gecko because and I don't even post it that much. Like, I need to do better posting of my geckos.
Yeah, we all could.
Yeah. But yeah, that's not a modified picture whatsoever. That gecko really is that red, and I'll put them next to my red Gargs, and I'm like, wow, this is how both. Now, I wish that red would stay red like that, but when it fires down, it's pink. Like, it's a really pale pink looking. There's no
Does
red.
He stay fired up a lot?
No,
or not really.
They don't fire at night. They usually fire up at night for some reason. They maybe because I have all the geckos in the room and they hear or see each other. Maybe that's what causes them. But
they're just awake.
Yeah, they're out and about.
What do you? We'll get off the crested gecko tangent in a second. But what are you hoping to pair that with? Do you have a picture of it?
That one.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if I have a picture. I have what they call a cold fusion. A cold fusion crested gecko, and she's really red. I have a younger picture.
Is this a cap?
Her. Yeah, that's a Exantic.
Oh, you do have Exantic.
I have an Exantic crested gecko. Yeah. So
nice.
Oh yeah.
A little bit farther, maybe.
I have a picture, so it should be down more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I need to post more often. Right there. Okay. Oh, she's right there.
Right here?
To the right of
me.
Yeah,
I was gonna say this looks.
Well,
to the right.
Yeah, to the right. She's right there. Yeah, she's a cold fusion girl that I picked up at Tinley. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So that's who I'm gonna pair that red gecko to. Yeah.
I might need to talk to you about babies because those two are really cool.
Yeah. For sure.
So, and the nice thing is we wouldn't have to worry about shipping.
No.
So I get a Korean gecko without
exactly.
at least Korean heritage. Very cool. Dude, that's awesome. All right. So let me just kind of rephrase the question in a different way.
Yep.
this next year,
yes,
if you had to throw away all of your plans except for one pairing, what is your number one thing you're looking forward to? Dagger to the heart.
One pairing. What kind of
one? You get one. I'm a cruel interviewer.
Oh my goodness.
Wasn't prepared for this one.
You should have let me think about this one, man. I love all my geckos. I love everything I'm working with. Oh my goodness.
Right this second, like you're dreaming about the eggs. Which eggs do you want the most?
All right, so I got Leonidas is that first gecko, and I paired them to this really odd looking peach colored gecko, gargoyle gecko, and I don't know what's gonna come out. So I'm really excited. So
that's awesome.
It's a peach blotch pink. It's like a pink peach color. It's in my Instagram. And I paired him to work. I have no idea what's coming out. I like so excited just to see what that pairing is going to produce.
So Leonidas is the crazy male. This one here, right?
Leonidas. Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right, nicely done. And then the peach girl.
The peach girl, she's down. Yeah,
she's blotch.
No, yeah, she's like a blotch. Let's see. Right there. You passed her up more, right on the right hand side, right there. So you see her looking.
Ooh, yeah.
She's a very unique. Pictures don't do justice. She's like a pink peach color, and he's like this really vibrant, like reddish orange neon color. I have no idea what's gonna come out. Like I am so like can't wait to see what comes out of this pairing. Like I don't even know anybody who's ever done a pairing like this before, to be honest with you. So
no, I think that's where we're on a new frontier with gargoyle geckos. I mean, I keep saying this, but we haven't scratched the surface, and that's what's fun about this. You know, I hope that 5 years from now, right? I have you back on, and we can talk about what those babies look like, and you're famous because man, you popped out the first of whatever it may be, right? Yeah. And we talked about it well before you even did it.
Exactly.
So I think that would be a lot of fun. So I'm going to call it right here. You're going to create a new genetic with that.
I hope so.
It's going to come out, and you're going to call it the Covec.
There you go.
So, very cool. That's awesome. All right, I want to bring this up because I think it's unique to you. We've touched on it a little bit, but even your last video of the year. Watched that with my son where your kids went and picked out something in the gecko room and you guys kind of explained it and looked at it. And I love the incorporation. What motivated you to have your daughter, your kids on camera with you? Like, what's your story with that? What's your mindset?
So my mindset I think is so cool. Okay. Honestly, I wouldn't even be doing YouTube videos if it wasn't for my kids.
Nice.
I have a 16-year-old daughter, and she's like, "Daddy, when are you gonna do a YouTube video? When are you gonna do Instagram?" She's the one that she's my young teenager. She signed me up for Instagram. She signed me up for YouTube and said, "Daddy, go at it." And I was like, I don't feel like doing this. I'm not really social. I'm not a social media guy. Like I'm just some dad, you know. And so if it wasn't,
you're the best kind.
Yeah, if it wasn't for my daughter just kind of pushing me and say, have you done that video yet? Have you posted yet? Then I would have never even done it. It just happened because I was pushed by my young kids. And then that first video I put out and they watched it, they're like, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy." And so I was like, I'm hooked. So the short answer is my kids pushed me, they encouraged me, and then I just start loving it. I love doing videos for people. The funniest thing is I go to Tinley and I forget I do these videos, to be honest with you.
Yeah, right.
I'm just some normal dude. I'm not like anybody special, man. I got some cool geckos that I bought, spend money, and then I just put it on camera. And I ran into people and they're like, "Hey, watch your videos. That's so awesome. You're so-and-so." I'm like, and then it takes me a minute, like, what are you talking about? And I feel like I'm rude, but I don't mean to be rude. I'm just thinking, I'm like, oh wait, I do videos. People do watch me. Like I do these videos and I don't even think people watch me, to be honest with you. Like I do them and I just think my kids are watching like an album that I made for like for a family album or something.
Like a home family video.
Yes,
Yeah. And
that's kind of like
it's crazy because you'll probably see like, okay, I've got 200 views on this, which is like, okay, cool, 200 views.
Yeah.
But dude, that's 200 people who clicked on your video
I'm
to
like,
watch
why are you
you.
watching me?
Like, it's so cool. It's flattering, you know?
I'm like, who wants to watch me?
Yeah, right. Oh man.
So that's why I do it, and I'm gonna continue to do it because I like it. I actually enjoy it. I think it's fun, and I don't edit anything.
It is.
I'm not an editor.
That's awesome.
I just record and then I post it, right? So
yeah. Hey, that editing, like I want to get better at editing.
Yeah,
but
I think it's important.
Like free software.
Yeah.
Right. So if anything looks fancy, it's not. Yeah. All right. Anybody can do the stuff that you and I are doing.
Yeah.
Right. But it's one of those things where I hope that our kids, and we look back when we're, all wrinkled and, the kids are older, and we can look back and see not only them age and grow, but we can see ourselves kind of grow a little bit too.
Yeah.
Hopefully 5 years from now, you'll see a little bit of less weight on me. I'll finally start working out.
Yeah.
But, I kind of a little bit narcissistically, like I think it's kind of cool as a time capsule.
Yes.
Imagine think of your grandparents.
Yeah.
If they did this, even if you never made another video.
Yep.
How cool would it be to go back and watch your grandpa?
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
And your mom,
That's so motivational for me, Yeah. If anybody's out there chasing numbers, that's got to be very stressful because I could see.
Yeah.
I see, like, if you chase the numbers and you're looking at what people are doing, it's so hard. People like putting out these videos that are just masterpieces. I'm like, wow, like I'm impressed.
They are nice.
Right? I'm like, man, I wish I could do that, but I'm not there. I don't have that time and to do that in this season of my life right now. I want to put out those really nice videos, and I really appreciate anybody watching me out there. Thank you. I really do, because this is great. I have a great time. You can see that I love what I'm doing. I love it. I like it, and that's kind of what I want everybody else to like. You want to share what people enjoy, right? And these animals are so enjoyable, and even when I'm cleaning, I'm like, wow, I like that gecko. I'm like, oh, I'm looking at this, and I find myself kind of dazed as I'm taking care of these animals, right? And I'm like, and then how do I fit more in my room? How do I get this gecko? How do I do? So it's like, it's a never-ending mind. It kind of keeps your mind occupied. It's really nice,
It is.
And there's so much to learn. Everything is so untouched. All these, I'm constantly reading these books and constantly looking on the internet, and I'm trying to learn. You had that young kid that was just on. I just watched your last video. Yeah. Smart kid. I'm like, wow. I'm proud of him. I know he's a kid. He's a man. He's in college, but I'm like, man, he's very articulate, right? He knows all these different species. He's very innovative. He takes that cage and he takes a screen cage and he makes it work for him. He's working for that Zoom Ed guy. So that last video, I was so impressed with the knowledge and everything that he brings to the table. Like, that's our future, and that's what I think that our kids, even if they're not buying geckos or whatever, they're our future lawmakers. They're the people that are going to be like all those poor Florida. They're always having problems they're trying to ban this and that and everything, right? But if you have more kids that are growing up now and they're like, no, these geckos, these are not invasive. You can have these are going to be okay. Something with an open mind instead of just cutting out everything. You can have a set of kids growing up that know about these animals, and they don't have to ban everything, right? Like they can
advocate in it from an educated standpoint.
Very educated, very, just not just doing blanket laws and just everybody's like, what do I do? That's kind of sad. I understand why they're doing it, but at the same time, they're not taking any consideration of what they're doing, right? So there has to be a happy medium. They need to work with these
Not
breeders.
all scary noodles. Yeah. Not all scary noodles are scary.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things where.
Yep. That's where these come in.
It's giving this information not only to the people who just are cleaning gecko cages and listening to this podcast, but I know one day this will be out there, and maybe there's a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, 18-year-old that's just starting to get into this stuff that stumbles upon, whether it be my videos or the Gecko Pod or God knows who else, is putting out information. A lot of great information out there. Wiccan's Wicked Reptile. I watch a ton of his stuff. They're shaping that next generation of keepers. And like you said, it's only going to benefit us to grow that education, because the more we can understand about all these species and just how to keep and how to build each other up instead of tearing each other down,
that's important.
I think it's going to be very appealing. So
we need to make sure that that everybody, crested geckos, gargoyle geckos, lychees, chihuahua people, all these people that are influencers, or anybody has a hand in
any platform,
any kind of platform, we need to unite and help each other, because that's all we have. We don't have anybody else. We got to help each other. We got to no one needs to knock each other down. Don't be nitpicking people. We need to be true to ourselves, and we have to make sure. I like the fact that a lot of the stuff that we do police each other. I see people out there like taking care of each other. That not only that, but we also have to build each other up, right? And just be careful with the clicks, because some people might feel excluded. Include everybody in everything. I love what you're doing with this podcast. Like, I absolutely love it. You have heavy hitters, you got new people, you bring anybody and everybody on here, and I'm so attracted to it. So when you asked me to come on here, I was personally like, yes, this guy Bobby has it. He has it down packed. He knows what he's doing. He has a vision. I see your vision. I love it. I think you're doing a great thing, man. I can't say it enough. And I love talking to animals and geckos. And
well, I mean, I'm a counselor by trade, talking it comes second nature to me. But kind of going along with that, like you were saying, it's to build each other up is huge, right? And we're not perfect. We're still learning. We're still learning about the genetics, how to take care. I mean, people are feeding baby food less than 10 years ago, right? With these animals. So, I take it from a standpoint of how do you educate while motivating, right? And so if you see somebody who's new, or even someone who's not necessarily new, right? If you go and tell them, hey, you're doing it wrong, what are they going to do? They're going to shut down. Right? If you just badger them, you try to cancel them, you're just going to shut people down.
Exactly.
Think about, we're all little kids inside. I don't care how old we are, right? I'm almost 40. And so what people want is, okay, hey, I know you're doing it that way. There may be a better way. Can I show you?
Exactly.
Right? And to say something like, to give people options and try to educate them without shoving it down their throat or insulting them, it's just going to allow them to, because everybody wants to be autonomous, and especially if they're over the age of 12, they want to have choices. And so if you just bring them choices, and I'm going to have people on here that I disagree with how they keep their animals, but they give me something to think about, and they're going to give me options on how to take care of my animals. I guarantee I probably have some fans who go 18 is too small for a pair of breeding geckos. I disagree. I have talked to many experts, and I think that 18 is a great size for them, especially, where I'm at right now. Maybe I've also think that, having too big of an enclosure is a bad thing, for breeding pairs. But the nice thing is that we're going to respect each other, give the information in a way that people are going to be willing to absorb it, be respectful. Don't just tell people what they're doing wrong, but give them options on how to change and let them make those decisions, right? You can't control people.
You said it perfect. Options. Give people options. I mean, that's, just like you said, you're doing it this way. It's working. Try this, see how this works for you. See how, try something different. That's all you got to do is put a little seed in there, give them little ideas. Then they can try it. Oh yeah, maybe that will work a little bit better this way. It's all the approach, and how you approach the situation. If you're harsh and you're mean, people are not going to gravitate to that. And then it kind of discourages people, but we're here. We don't need to discourage people, and we all learn, we all make mistakes, and it's okay to make mistakes because you learn from those mistakes. Mistakes are okay. Preventable mistakes,
they're needed.
Preventable mistakes, like emergencies that's one thing, but yeah, you need a couple knocks on your head to kind of get things to roll the way they're supposed to, you know.
Yep. Well, I couldn't have paid you for that segue anymore. One last thing I wanted to chat with you
Yeah.
about is you put out a video on prolapse.
Yep.
We're talking about, not necessarily a mistake, but something that happens.
Mm-hmm.
We're all a little bit of afraid that it may happen, because I would love to know what your experience was. I know you have a whole video out on
Yeah,
it. You don't have to go through everything,
I think it's
but if you
important.
could give our audience kind of run us through what happened, what that experience was like, and what did you learn from it more importantly?
So the pairing I was trying to do was they were both first year geckos. They're the first time geckos. And then one gecko that had the prolapse powder, I put them with a cappuccino. So it was a cappuccino to a lily white. I was hoping for fraps. I mean, I was like, who doesn't want a frap, you know?
They're gorgeous.
They're gorgeous. So I put them together with her, and he just kind of was really aggressive, not like biting, but kind of aggressively going after her. And
Okay.
I noticed that he was more aggressive. I've paired a lot of geckos so far in the last few years, but this one's a little bit different. And so his aggression was, I think, was overly aggressive, and I seen him kind of like aggressive meaning like forward, not like biting or anger.
Sure.
Like just like going for it, right? And I think he was so excited and so going.
She was really pretty.
Yeah, he couldn't take his eyes off of her. And so he prolapsed, and it was that night, and I was like, man, this is I've seen geckos with the hemipenes out, and I'm just like, wow, this is different. It's kind of looked a little swollen. I'm like, did she maybe take a nip at him or something? And I kind of looked at it, and I did a lot of research when I saw it, because it was like an hour or two, and normally about 2 hours in, the prolapse, I mean, the hemipene will go right back in. I was like, you know what? It's not really doing anything. So I took him out, and I was like, oh no, not this gecko. Why this one? I waited all this time. I grew it up
it's
to a tiny little gecko, right? And then in the cappuccino girl too. It was I grew him up for a couple years. I was like, man, here we go. And the prolapse was in there, so I put him in an empty shoebox container, one of those plastic ones, and I put a quarter of water in there. I soaked them in there for about 15-20 minutes, and I saw him kind of licking it up and trying to get it back in, and it wasn't happening. And I was like, oh, maybe. So then I did a little more research. I said, I'll put some sugar in the water. So I did a sugar water thing, and I put them in there for another 20 minutes, and it was still out, and it looks swollen, man. Like if you're breeding geckos, kind of pay attention, and you'll see like a slight difference. It wasn't like a big, huge difference, but I saw there was a slight difference. It just
was there only one hemipene out?
Yeah, it was only one hemipene.
Okay,
and he was trying desperately to get it in, and so I called a few vets, and it was late at night, and there was no one open, and I messaged a couple people. And from what I knew from the area, and no one really had a good answer. It was somebody messaged me. It was like a vet, like really far, but I ended up finding a 24-hour vet, and I explained the situation. I'm like, can you help me or not? And the lady is like, the veterinarian lady, she's like, yeah, I have some experience. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. So I ended up taking the gecko over to the vet, because I even did the honey, like nothing. And the gecko looked distraught, and it kind of like looked like it was hurting. So the gecko literally looked like it was in pain, and the thing didn't look right. It wasn't like you just know it was off. That's all it was, because some people are like, oh, just let them sit in there or try to push it back. I'm like, I'm not pushing this gecko's hemipene. Like my hands are too big. I'm gonna end up crushing this gecko. Like I knew that I didn't have that kind of finesse to try to push gecko's privates back.
Well, and the vent is closing in on it, and that's what's causing it, from my understanding. It just always reminds me of a really old movie here.
Yeah.
What was it? Something About Mary?
Yeah.
The opening scene.
Yes.
Comment down below if you're old enough to know what I'm talking about. All right. And if you haven't, go watch that movie, the first like 20 minutes of it. So, oh man. But so you're trying all these things, you find a vet, and that's the other thing too, is people don't realize your local vet typically is not specialized in any kind of reptiles. And so, you know, the options you're going to have really dictate on their experience.
Yes.
And so you found somebody. 24 hours just to me sounds expensive, but maybe it was worth it because
it wasn't cheap.
Right.
I'm like, I could have bought another gecko for this price. I'm like, what? You took my gecko money. But I love the gecko. So it was cool.
But there are babies.
Yeah, so
you know.
She took them in, and she said she could push it back in. I was kind of hesitant. She's like, I could push it back in and stitch it.
Yeah.
She reassured me. She's like, man, I can do this. I could put it.
This isn't my first time.
Yeah, I could stitch that. I could put that stitch in there, and the geckos will be fine. I'm like, okay, I'll go with it. Charge me good money for it too. I was like, oh my god, this is expensive. So I took the gecko home, and the first time the gecko had to go to the bathroom, I mean, this gecko is a crested. This thing poops a lot. So bam, it just blew out that. It blew out that stitch, and the hemipene came right back out. I was like, this is bad. So I called the vet right away. I'm like, listen, this thing didn't hold. And when I brought him home, he was already lethargic, like from the first time she put it in. And then I had to give him a shot, and then I gave him some oral medicine. And so he was already not right. Like the gecko's all kind of like
limp.
Yeah, and then it was like negative 13 degrees out. I'm like, I gotta take this gecko all limpy outside in the cold. And I'm like, my poor gecko. I told my wife, I'm like, I don't think Potter's gonna make it. I think this gecko's gonna die.
Oh, no.
Like, he doesn't look good, and we're back out in the cold. I don't know how warm the veterinarian place is. And so I was like preparing myself for this death of this gecko. And so I bring it back, and she's like, oh, we're gonna have to I can try to push it back in one more time. And I'm like, no, no, you're not pushing it back in. I said, amputate it. So she amputated it because I told her I'm not. And then the funniest thing is,
because they can still function, right, with one.
Yeah, exactly. She goes to me. She goes, "Do you want me to resuscitate your gecko if it needs resuscitation?" I was like, "What? Resuscitate?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean CPR? How are you gonna?
Right.
How much is that?"
Clear, good.
She's like, no, we can resuscitate it. I'm like, what do you mean resuscitate?
Right.
Please explain the procedure. How are you going to resuscitate my gecko? I guess there's an extra charge for it. Like, I'm like, no, you're not resuscitating my gecko because I don't even know what you're going to do to it. Like, tell me how you're going to resuscitate it. Let's see if this is a good idea. She's like, well, there's ways to do it. I'm like, that's not an answer. So I'm like, no. Let's not talk about this anymore. Just please make him normal again. So yeah, he has 2 hemipenes, and so he'll be able to breed again. So I'm gonna pair him next year. I was hoping somebody would respond to one of in the comments if they ever had that. I know crested geckos are not the only ones that have dual hemipenes. I know other geckos do. I believe gargoyles do.
Yeah, gargoyles, all the new cal species.
Yeah, all the new cal stuff. So if anybody out there has ever had any good experience with, because if I can't breed him, I'm still planning on keeping him because I really like him. I do want to make a frap. I think it's kind of my goal is something cool to make. So I
feel like David from Tiki's had a video a while back that said he had that experience where he only had one, and they still produce.
Yeah.
But you know what it makes me think of? Speaking of people who make fantastic videos, and I'd love to have him on here just to talk about that.
Yeah,
because he keeps only a handful of gargoyles. Have you seen? I don't know the guy's name, but Leafy Street.
Yeah, you know what? I seen him because you mentioned him. So one time you mentioned him.
Yeah,
he's got like.
So he does a lot of like
followers. And,
oh my god, he went viral. And I think, you know what made him go viral is this story.
Yeah.
It's basically your story, except for his gecko didn't get resuscitated and died.
Yeah.
And then the female that he had it paired to for one night. It's a great story. If he made it up, kudos to him. Okay. Because it's a fantastic story, and that's why he blew up.
Yeah.
And his female, basically in one night got impregnated, and she had like 6 eggs, and you know he's got all the babies named with funny names. And so I mean the guy tells a great story.
Yeah.
And the way he edits his videos, I mean it is a little mini masterclass. I watched them and try to like, okay, could I do that? And I'm like, no, that would take way too much work, you know.
In the future,
But
like if you, I think you could do
in
it.
a few years, maybe. Yeah. So, but for right now, I'll stick with my my quick edits. But yeah, it just makes me think of that because it's the same thing. He brought it in for a hemipene that wouldn't go back in. Tried everything. Took it to the vet. The vet goes, all right, I'll call you back in a little bit. You can pick him up. And called and said that the gecko was gone.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna happen.
Didn't.
2 times that gecko was under anesthesia, and
that's crazy.
It was like barely moving. I'm like, oh no! But yeah, I did the shots. The shots were kind of. I didn't enjoy giving him shots at all. I felt like.
How many times did you get bit?
He didn't bite me at all.
Oh, that's lucky. Was he just that lethargic, or
no? You know what?
For a while.
So lily whites are kind of a weird gecko. I have a lily white male, another one, and it's just crazy gecko. Like there's something not right in the brain. Like this gecko is just all over this. If I take him out, he's on the ceiling. He's on a. I can't hold it. He stays in the cage. He's very pretty, but I can't handle him. He just no matter what I do. This gecko, is way on the other end of the spectrum. Super calm, super chillax. I could go in there. I could put him on the table, walk away. He won't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's something with the lily white. Like either they're really crazy or they're just absolutely just calm as calm can be. It's like almost like a little puppy dog. So this gecko took it and just was fine. And he was fine right after. He did get like a little squirmy when I was giving him his shots, and he did kind of like look at me like, "What are you doing again?" And you're giving me another shot again.
Yeah.
I was afraid he was gonna drop his tail, get spooked out. Never spooked out, nothing. And I can go grab him right now, and he'll be like really chill. Like he's so super easy, super easy gecko. So
well, that'd be even harder to lose him if he's that awesome.
Yeah, that's why I was like, man, this guy is awesome. But crested geckos, I feel like. I mean, gargoyle geckos, I feel like if I had to go through the same process with a gargoyle gecko, I think that thing would just be just like a little, like a little, like try to bite.
Yeah, those teeth are a little bit,
I don't think they're going to take me giving them shots as easily as this other one. Yeah. So.
No. And I've never been bit by a garg. Knock on wood here.
Yeah.
None of mine are aggressive. The only ones that would ever gape at me are the babies.
Yeah.
The babies will gape at me, but usually like that's like the first few days. It's just like, okay, leave me alone, which I do.
Yeah.
But I handleability, I've had a few crested geckos just like for short periods of time, right? I gave one away to my cousin. She loves that gecko. It's probably the one I gave to her is probably the most chill one I've ever seen in my life as far as a crested gecko.
Yeah.
Every other crested gecko I've owned for a short period of time, the reason why it was a short period of time is they were nuts. Like I felt like I was dealing with a day gecko, where as soon as they saw daylight, whoa, it's out of there. And I'm like, this sucks, comparatively.
I want to handle my
gecko. I can open up all 6 across on there just to spray. They don't come out, and it's dusk. I do that with a crested gecko. Blam! It's gone. So
they run.
That's just my experience.
That same thing, man. They're crazy. So
yeah, I think that's one thing I like about the gargs is that they're a more they're higher up on the food chain.
Yeah.
So to me, they're less spooked. I feel like the crested geckos are like the zebras of the gecko world. If you know anything about zebras, as soon as anything makes a noise, the whole pack just goes.
Yep.
It was actually cool. On my honeymoon, we were in a hot air balloon, and every time they pulled for the fire to go off, and we were anywhere near zebra, I was trying to get pictures because they're so cool. We're up in a hot air balloon. I got so many pictures of zebra butts. Because they would just be butts going away from us,
They're trying to tell you something.
Yeah. Screw off, man. It's too early in the morning. So, that's awesome. So the gecko's healthy now, though.
Yes. Gecko, put on some weight.
Did you pair it again? Or are we taking a break?
I'm going to wait till next year. I don't know, because I don't have any information. Nobody knows. Nobody's really told me anything about it. He looks perfectly healthy. He looks like I could pair him. but I'm not going to, because I don't know. I don't want to put them through that stress if it's not going to work. So I'm just going to I'll hold off a year. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and you know what?
Yeah.
That just shows your character right there.
Yeah.
That you're, we think about these animals, and we really do put their best interest moving forward.
Yep.
Hey, we could keep talking for a long time, and right? I mean, this is. Are you having fun?
I love it. I have lots of fun. I'm having tons of fun.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on, and you've said some really kind words, and I appreciate that too. But that's not why I'll have you back. I want to see when you pair those two geckos together, right? The two gargoyles, and you get a brand new gene. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
I'm really excited for that. Keep up the good work with your videos.
Thank you,
guys. Nelson, if people want to find your videos or find more information about you, or when you do post the babies, where should they go?
NCG Reptiles. Same thing. Everything's NCG. So my Instagram's NCG Reptiles. I do have a website. It's ncgreptiles.com. My YouTube channel is NCG Reptiles. It's a pretty straightforward. Yeah, just punch my name in and you'll find me.
You find one, you found them all.
Found them all.
Yeah. There you go. Awesome. Yeah, go check out his videos. And if you have younger kids too, have them watch with you, because it's a great experience. And thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you, man. I totally appreciate it. We could get down and dirty next time and talk more genetics if you want. I'm an open book. We could talk about your aquarium.
That's the beauty of this.
Your aquarium fish. I know we've been doing that for a while too. So,
I'm always. We'll do a little fish podcast and put it on separately.
I thought about doing fish YouTube videos because I enjoy them a lot too. So.
Real quick before we go, what kind of tank do you have?
I have a JBJ Nanocube that I've had for about.
Oh, nice!
I've had that tank for about 17 years now, filled with corals and some fishes that I haven't had to restock forever. Like, it's been thriving forever and ever. That was something that I thought about doing YouTube videos a long time ago, but I just never got around to it. But yeah, it's definitely another passion that awesome. I like.
I'm gonna need your tips, because I've always done freshwater. I could talk about freshwater for a long time. I got rid of all my freshwater tanks. I just have a saltwater 20-gallon water box, and it's going really well right now. The nem, I put an anemone in there, and it crawled to the back of the tank. Luckily, it's not stinging anything. But I'm like, really, dude, you were so gorgeous right in the middle.
They move around, man. They're hard to keep stay. They like to move, and people always say they're gonna stay where they're gonna find a spot and stay there forever. No, man, they're not. I've had them. They go everywhere,
dude. I had them
everywhere. They're all over.
In the same. It was the same spot for 3 months. I'm like, all right, cool. I got a good one. No.
Nope.
But we could definitely talk corals. Do you have any fancy clownfish? I'm excited about my clowns.
I have a maroon lightning clownfish. So.
Oh, I love those.
They're amazing. So I remember reading an article on them when they first found them in the ocean, maybe like 15, 20 years ago. And the first one that they found in the ocean, I remember they were like, this is $1 million fish and we're going to breed it and this and that. I'm like, man, I'm never going to have one of those. I can't believe, like, I fell in love with that fish. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
And so a couple years ago, I actually saw it at a pet store. I was like, what? I dreamt about this fish like 20 years ago. I remember reading an article about this thing. And there was a pair of maroon lightning clownfish. And I ended up buying them, and I've had them for the last 5 years. I love them.
And you've got a pair.
Yeah, I got a pair. And they don't like to pair. That's the thing. I have a pair that
they don't like to pair.
The coolest thing about this lightning clownfish is it has, the lightning pattern on the side. It looks like a clownfish, like it has eyes and a mouth, and so the pattern of the pattern looks like a clown on my lightning clownfish. So I even more love this fish. Like, it's like so unique.
Oh, that's so amazing.
Special. Yeah.
You're gonna have to send me pictures. Yeah. Guys, if you don't know, maroon clownfish are basically the red version of Finding Nemo. Okay, they're gorgeous, and the lightning is like, imagine lightning coming down from the sky. That's what their pattern is. It is a gorgeous fish.
Beautiful.
And they hate to pair up. So that you have a pair makes me even more jealous.
5 years.
Yeah, so I thought I was gonna brag about mine and make you jealous, but you
It's
win.
okay. What do you got?
So I found a really good deal on what are they? So mine are two different Oscilleras. So one is a near naked clown, so it's almost all orange,
Nice.
black
Yep.
out rim, and then it's got 3 spots, one on each gill, and one symmetrically. It looks like a koi fish.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool one, but I like my new baby even better. It's a really symmetrical orange storm.
Nice.
So if you know what those
Yeah.
are,
So where'd you get them? Like ORA, like clownfish? Did you order them?
so I no, I didn't order them. I got one at a place in Mundelein, Illinois,
Okay.
called Show Tank Aquariums. Awesome place, awesome owners.
Yeah.
If you want to stop by there, and then another cool place actually where I got my first gargoyle gecko is where I got my clown. That's at Birds and Bees Pet Shop. They
Cool.
don't do a huge amount of salt water,
Mm-hmm.
but they do enough to really get some cool stuff in. And yeah, they really hooked me up. So
Awesome.
Dan and your crew, you'll see them at Tinley for geckos,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, they're good with a lot of stuff.
Did you go to? I know you were gonna end this podcast, but real quick.
That's okay. It's my own podcast. I can do what I want, guys. We'll do a second ending.
Real quick.
If you left already, you're missing out.
Did you go to Aquashella? It's the same place where they have the Schaumburg Tinley show, the Schaumburg show.
No, and I'm like a stone's throw away from there. So like, I would love to. When is it? Because I gotta
it's
start
kind of
dates.
randomly. I think it's more towards the end of the year.
Okay.
In the fall. I can't remember exactly. It's been a while. But go to Aquashella. Take your kids. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
When you walk in, they have like this neon glow in the dark like black lights, and you walk through like this aquarium like section of it, and then it's just corals and fishes. It's just like a Tinley show for reptiles, but it's for fishes. Yeah,
that's
phenomenal.
You're speaking my language. I'll definitely go do that.
I love it.
I've seen a few, YouTube videos on Aquashella, but I can never like pinpoint it down. And so if you know the next time, if it pops up, if you see it, let me know.
I'll send you.
I'll keep an eye out for it.
Whenever, if it always pops up on my phone, I'll send it to you whenever.
We'll probably meet there and hang out.
That'd be really cool.
We'll grab lunch.
Absolutely.
And then we'll also have to hang out. Are you going to Tinley in a few weeks?
Yes. Yep. I got some geckos I'm picking up already ordered.
Nice.
I picked up some gargoyles.
Any shout outs to certain breeders?
Yeah, I reached out to a breeder. I'm picking up some special gargoyles. I wanted to buy it before I went to Tinley because I'm gonna buy it if I go to Tinley and I'll blow my money before I get to their table. Well, right. I have an idea in mind. I didn't share with you guys. I will share it in the future. This is kind of my underground kind of idea. If I see you in person, I'll let you know what I'm thinking. But I got some special geckos that's a passion project. Gargoyle geckos that is a passion project for me. And
okay, we'll
talk.
And
that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go pick some up. They're paid for. They're ready to go. I'm not gonna spend my money. So I got some coming.
You say that now.
Yeah. An evil morph market. So what happened was I was on morph market and I found something that I wanted to start a project with. So I got a gecko come from morph market, and then I have the male that I reached out to a special breeder that I'm gonna pick up another Garg. So I got a trio that I'm gonna work with, and I have some great ideas. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Those are my passion.
Well, then we'll definitely have to meet up at Tinley.
Yep.
And you'll have to fill me in on this passion project of yours. And if you've picked them up already, I'll get a first look, hopefully. Yeah. So yeah, I don't have plans of buying anything as of right now for Tinley, but I'm definitely gonna go. I was looking to sell a few things for Tinley, maybe jump on someone's table, but my fans are so fantastic, and I've had a few people buy recently. I only have 3 geckos for sale left, so if anybody's interested,
you plan on
hit me up.
Vending Tinley?
I was trying to jump on someone's table. I didn't. I don't know. It's my first year. I don't know what the etiquette is. With jumping on those tables aren't cheap, is what I'm finding out. So you better be throwing somebody some good money if you want to jump on a table. Is what I've learned. Maybe in the future, you and I could split a table. That'd be kind of fun.
Just do it. We'll do a podcast on there.
Just there you go. That'd be awesome. We'll
invite some other people on there to talk, and
we'll just set up with a live and then have our geckos on the side. That'd be great.
I think people that.
Yeah, we gotta meet the right people at Tinley this time to get on their waiting list.
Yeah, you know what? I was talking to a guy. There's a short list if you know certain people. It's all politics. We know that. So.
Yep. Well, maybe we can invite those certain people onto the show.
Well, yeah, 3 years, that's a long time. But you know what? I think the Schaumburg show, if you're interested in the Schaumburg show, I think that's more open to people, more easier to get into.
Absolutely.
And it's just as big as Tinley, I would say. You know,
I enjoy it more because it's easier to walk around. My theory, and I don't have anybody telling me this. I just hope this is the case because I'm selfish and I live closer to Schaumburg. I like the Schaumburg location better. And I don't know what they have for a deal as far as, renting out. I would love to see them move the Tinley show up to Schaumburg and reverse it. I think that would be amazing.
The thing is, Tinley, they outgrew Tinley. They need more space, for sure. 100% they need more space. So. But I'll be there.
Either way, we still love. I mean, it's a great show. We're spoiled living around here because that's our local show, other than All Animal. So very cool. Well, we'll have to meet up for that, and you'll show me the project, and we'll go from there. But thank you again so much for coming on.
All right,
and we'll do a Midwest goodbye of saying goodbye multiple times.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
All right, man. You have a great rest of your day, and thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, do all that stuff. I don't usually say that on the podcast, but it means the world to me. I'm right as the recording of this. I'm 15 people away from 1,000. I cannot believe it. You guys are the best fans in the world. Thank you. Bye.
All right.
Hey, if you've enjoyed this video and want to encourage me to make more gargoyle gecko content, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, share this with a friend, and maybe check out one of the videos right over there. I'll see you next time on Gecko Cove.